Well, the month of March came to an end and I crushed it. I crushed it. As usual. As usual. Huh? Did you crush it? Did you crush it? Stop lying. You have never crushed anything in your life. In your life. Okay? I'm not gonna listen to this lies, to this fake news crushing stuff. You don't crush stuff. I crush it. I crushed it. Ladies and gentlemen, muscrimps, mollifiers, welcome to the show. I am the anonymous librarian. You can call me Al. Keep it short, man. Keeping it short here. I don't want you typing like I know most of you can't spell anonymous, right? Most of you can't spell anonymous. That's just a fact. Let me show you. I can spell anonymous. Anonymous. Yeah, yes, that's how you spell anonymous. I'm sure. I don't have to double check it. I know I got it right. I know I got it right. Why are you arguing with me, man? It's not why we're here. This is not a spelling bee. Who cares? Who cares? No. Well, I had a very good March, I would say. Reading month. I think so. You can judge for yourself. But why waste time? So I have to talk about a lot of stuff. Quite a few. Yeah. This video might go long. Let's hope not. Yeah. Let's start. Let's get into like the first things first. You know, we get like our little snacks in first. Our snacks. Then we go to our vegetables. We eat our vegetables. Then we eat our entrees. Then after our entrees, we get our desserts. Now, if you don't know, let's go over this. The snacks is going to become manga. Vegetables, non-fiction. I know you guys, you complain, right? You complain about that so much. I don't care. You have to eat your vegetables to get to your entree, which is the fiction, literary fiction, whatever, classics, historical fiction. That all falls under. It's getting dark. Right? I don't mind. It seems to look fine. And then we get to the dessert, which is what most of you want. Fantasy and sci-fi. My fantasy and sci-fi reads. Well, now that I've explained that again, like this is the first episode ever. Let me take a sip of coffee. And then we can get started. So, with the comics and manga for the month. First, I picked up Jupiter's Legacy by Frank Millar. Oh wow, Frank Millar. That's an abomination. Can you think of it? I think I just made Frank Miller and Mark Millar. Mark Millar and Frank Quietly. Let me think. I like it. I've had others from Quietly where I might not be so fond of his art, but in this one it just worked really well. It's a little bit. Nah. Can you see anything there? I don't know. I can't see anything because I've got my shades on. Protect me from your evil spirits coming through the comments and stuff. Sure. I was, my friend lent me this because he was like, no, this is my favorite comic book of all time. I love this so much. This is peak. This is everything for me. I want you to read it. And I was so ready to hate this. Oh, I wanted to hate this so I can tell him a lesson. This sucks. This is the worst thing ever. Because he's critical of my favorite one of all time. He doesn't want to read my favorite one of all time. So I wanted to crap on his. So was I able to, unfortunately, I quite enjoyed it. Jupiter's Legacy is actually very interesting. Very yeah, it is Millar's version of superheroes, not necessarily in the real world, but in a more grounded world in some ways. Or yeah, I don't even know if that's real. I wouldn't say this is cynical, but yeah, in his own unique take on superheroes. So if you know Mark Millar, you know he's like good behind Wanted and Kick-Ass, and yeah, they go rough. He did Civil War as well, which is a great arc. Jupiter's Legacy, I'll say like the first chapter, I was like, okay, that's interesting. I like what the characters are interesting. I like what they're setting up. Second one was like, yeah, okay, it's getting more interesting. This is very, I am liking it. I am enjoying it. And then chapter 3 was like, whoa! And then, yeah, because in Mark Millar's, it's always kind of like a proper needle drop moment. How are they? Not a mic drop, a needle drop, like, what the hell did just happen? He kind of like he always this it's kind of how everything of him I've read is kind of like that. It kind of builds the slow, puts everything in place, everything slowly in place, and then just bam! When everything's in place, it just beats you up, and it's so good. I really like this cover as well. It kind of gives you this idea. It's like, oh, are these supposed to be superheroes? What? This was great. This was really great. Was this my favorite of all time? No, it didn't supplant my favorite of all time. But I will say this was a really good start to the month, and I really enjoyed it a lot. Anybody should pick this up if you want something a bit more, a little darker, dealing with like more human type things and that. Because these two characters are this is a brother and sister that's parents are like legendary, are basically like in some ways the Superman and Wonder Woman of this universe. And what's it like to be them as parents, and then you have superpowers as well, and then people expecting from you, but you just want to have like some popularity or have some fun. Yeah, no. It delves into that stuff. Fascinating story, interesting, and I really enjoyed it. And then every now and then it blows your mind. You're like, wow, what just happened? What? Oh no. Fascinating. Can't wait to continue with this. Really enjoyed Jupiter's Legacy so much. Really pick it up. I mean, I would say if you're a fan of what? If you're a fan of I think if you're a fan of Watchmen, this will also kind of, although it does, yeah, you can go to this something like in that similar vein, but in a very different vein as well. And Mark Millar I feel like often his ideas are greater than his stories. Though I don't like his stories necessarily that much, but his ideas are really great. I Wanted was good, but I wasn't blown away by Kick-Ass the same. This feels to me like everything he does coming together and really working well. Because you can tell he's a guy with really great ideas, and just yeah, some great storytelling in this. I loved it. Take some coffee, man. Following that, my first manga I picked up for March 2026. First manga I picked up was Death Note Volume 1. Oh, I've got this one where there's 2 volumes in one, but I only read the first volume. Oh, the black, look at that. I like it. The dark side. Who doesn't want to be on the dark side? Whoa, this is good. This is really good. I mean, spoiler alert, isn't Death Note famous? Legendary? I mean, everybody already know Death Note's good, but yeah, this first volume is amazing in what it does, and the conceit is great, right? And it's also reminded like teenagers, worst people ever. Don't put give a teenager should never have any power. They will destroy the world. Evil creatures. Yeah, no. You know this is based on a true story? It's based on a true story of evil teenagers because teenagers are evil. Like yeah, it's kind of an oxymoron. You can't say evil teenagers, right? All teenagers are evil. So it's like just teenagers. It's like saying evil Nazis. Yeah, it's already you're evil. Never mind. Let's not get too deep into the teenager hate again. But this is such a great story. If you don't know, go Google it. Like the kid gets a journal. Light's his name. Light gets a journal given by a Shinigami. I think that's the guy's name. What's he? Roiku's. I forgot the names. I'm not good at remembering names. Gave him this journal, so whoever's name he writes in there and pictures the face, that person will die. Bam! And then it kind of becomes this chase between the detective trying to catch him and him, and it's really, really well done and interesting. I had a crazy time, and the twists and the turns and ideas and the characters, fantastic, fantastic. No man, Death Note. Yeah, this is I'm already getting the next, so I already have to volume 6 in this, and so I can't wait to get to volume 2. Oh, was such a great start, and so much happening, and I couldn't. Death Note is such a long series. I don't know how they will keep up the pace for the whole time, but yeah. Come on, I was surprised. I was not surprised. I expected to like it, and I liked it even more. It it's really what a well plotted, intricate story in this first volume. Wow. And the art as well. Yo, the art in this. Beautiful, man. Amazing. Amazing. Who was it by? I didn't even say who it's by. Oh, have I been holding the thing up the wrong way the whole time? Wow. What a pro. What a pro I am. Who else can get away with that? Let's see the names. Story by Tsugumi Oba. Story by Tsugumi Oba and art by Takeshi Obata. And they're both crushing it. Both of them are crushing it. Really great. Loved it. So from there, so I had to go back to the comics then, right? So what was the next comic I got? Also lent to me by my friend Doom Patrol by Gerard Way and Nick Darrington is the artist. I almost died. Almost died right now. No, I don't. I almost die in every video, so let's not. Let's not get too excited about it. Oh, this is just a roller coaster from start to finish. Crazy art, crazy storytelling, crazy characters. Doom Patrol is so much fun. I don't know how to explain it too much. Like this weird stuff happening. Sentient ambulance. It's a sentient ambulance. Ambulance. That's how you say it. You know the thing that they pick you up when you're sick and they take you if you're very sick, you're about to die, you got in a car crash or something. Come with the ambulance, and take you away. Shut up about my accent. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear about my accent. It is what it is, and we're gonna live with it, and we're gonna enjoy it. Not like you sound so great. I'm sure you sound stupid as well. So then let's not. Not that I sound stupid. I sound sophisticated. This is sophisticated. This is how a sophisticated person sounds. A well-read, sophisticated gentleman. That's what I am, and that's how I sound. It is really wonderful. And I'm not gonna go like this. Oh, hi, how are you guys? Doom Patrol, Jared Way's way of telling stories is great, and it's insane and ridiculous and fun, and it gets you in the feelings, but also like, wow, that's weird and crazy, and then like, whoa, that is insane. I like the concept. I would never thought of that. Doom Patrol's awesome. Had a real great time. Had a lot of fun with it. Oh, no. I don't even know who's my favorite character. All the characters in here were great. They didn't do a lot with Niles in this one. It seems like they're building it up. What is the robot guy's name again? I don't know. I like the robot guy. Because I watched the TV show, I have Brendan Fraser's voice, and that voice he does specifically for that in my head when I'm reading it, and that's just so yeah. And then Matt Boomer for a guy with wrapping around that has the alien inside him, whatever. I don't think it's like a fifth dimensional being, whatever, something like that in it. So much fun. That's like just a little bit of art, and it does such a great thing of telling so many threads at the same time and kind of pulling them together, but also not really. It wants to leave it a little chaotic. It wants to make it like you have to like, wait, I'm not sure I'm following everything perfectly that's happening here. Was also Len, my friend, said, you're gonna like it for what it is. And I said, yeah, I did like it for what it is. I liked it even more for what it is. So then I had to go back to manga. So next I picked up One Piece Volume 2. Yeah, I know, I'm far behind. Boogie the Clown. Boogie the Clown. The Boogie is a man. Boogie is a great, ridiculous villain. That's, I mean, One Piece, right? I had so much fun with. There was like one thing that happens that I'm like, yeah, okay. It's a trope in books that I am personally not a big fan of. It's like the person that shows up just in the nick of time to save the other person, but they were not even really in a haste to find them, and they didn't know. You know what? Yeah. But it kind of works because later on you kind of realize, oh, you wouldn't. It wouldn't have even mattered if you showed up late. So yeah, no. One Piece Volume 2, I had a great time. Ah man, the part with the dog, if you know, that just it gets you in the feelings. I remember I still watched this part of the shit. This was before I jumped off the anime. So we're getting closer and closer to the part where I decided I'm not gonna watch anymore the anime. And then we'll see, because I was thinking now I'll probably be better reading it than watching it. The dog thing, just as great as the anime, if not better. The mayor is fantastic. Buggy has a bunch of weirdos around him. That's kind of like One Piece and its weirdos. Oh, fantastic. Luffy is always. There were there was a couple of jokes here that got me laughing. So there was one where I just put it down like that's the silliest, stupidest joke, and I loved it so much. It broke me. It was so funny. So Volume 3 will be next. Excited for that. Excited. I'm still having a lot of fun with Luffy and the gang. Oh, okay. Then I picked up a comic, my last comic, and I was so excited to finally get back to this because the first volume of this was my favorite comic of last year and my favorite comic of all time, Saga. I have the compendium. So it was Saga Volume 1 was last year, so this is Compendium 1. Saga Volume 2 that I read. I have the compendium of the first 9 volumes in it. I got that one because I don't know. I'm gonna. So I read like Volume 2, which is somewhere in the front, whatever. I just want to show you the big one I actually have. Boom, boom. Oh, I'm so happy I got this big one. Yeah. Now if I can get back book 4, then I'm up to date. I think if I get book 4. In any case, so I was like, could Saga keep up the insane brilliance of Volume 1? Easily. I don't know. Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. That's just I don't know if ever there was a story that seems to be tailor-fit perfectly made for me, it is this one. I love it so much. The characters just and all the characters. So excited. What's interesting for me, where Volume 1 tried to tell all the character stories, like this one was a bit more split up. Like, no, we're gonna this chapter is just gonna tell about these characters. This chapter. One of the favorite characters in Volume 1 only shows up like in the second last, or no, I think he shows up only in the last chapter of this one, of Saga Volume 2. Yeah, so, but still, even there, it made sense. So they gave every character kind of more room to breathe in the chapters they had, while things are still happening, crazy, insane, interesting things. It is. All the characters are so interesting, unique. This is still Saga Volume 2. It's just as good as Volume 1, and and it's cementing the fact. Like this is cementing that this is probably gonna be my favorite comic book run of all. I laugh my ass off. It is genuinely. It's not like it's like wow funny, and it's shocking at times, and just brilliant in the storytelling and its reveals. And Brian K. Vaughan's dialogue, the quick, that felt so great. And how I explain it, like it's like some kind of like, if you take James Gunn's version of Guardians of the Galaxy, and you mix it in with a lot of Star Wars, and you mix those two in a lot, you kind of get. That's the closest that I can say to what this is, but it's still far more than that. Man, I do not. This one is one I kind of just want to binge before everything else, but I'm like, no. Let me. I have other stuff to read. I don't just want to read this and then it's over and then blah. But I just. This is the one. Yo, Saga Volume 2. That was epic. Now my arm is tired. So now I guess I have to tell you, I have to choose one here for what was my comic and manga read of the month. Well, and honestly, this is a month where in any month, any of these could have won. In another month, these, I would say, if I take my, I think I won't say each month, but I had a different month in the year where I read, and I think any of these would have likely been the winner if they were in that month. That's how good they were. So I had a great time with this. I know which one won, by the way. In the end, it didn't came out. There was not much of a choice. There was like, in the beginning, it was like, if I took the first four that I read, if I took Doom Patrol, Jupiter's Legacy, Death Note, and One Piece Volume 2, I would not, okay, One Piece Volume 2 was probably the one that was not going to, even though I liked it a lot, I think it would have been between Death Note and the other two, but likely. But then Saga came, and Saga just blew it out. No, it's of course, my comic of the month, my comic and manga read of the month was definitely, illustrated read of the month, was definitely Saga Volume 2. My favorite characters in comics at this point. I love everything about it. The story, and it pulls on your heartstrings, it disturbs you sometimes, it makes you laugh, and it and Brian K. Vaughan of Fiona Staples art is wonderful. Let me try and I will show, like, I don't want to open this too far because I want, oh, that girl's great. And I also have to be careful. I don't want to have to censor stuff now. Because there are some stuff here that happens that I definitely would not be allowed to show. That cat. Oh, that cat. Awesome. Lion cat. Lion cat is the best. Now that's a proper animal companion. Now I feel, and I'm gonna read, I'm likely gonna read one volume of Saga each month. And it's gonna be interesting to see if anything can supplant. Oh, that is one other thing that I am reading, like in every second month at this point. It seems like that's very close to this, to see if anything can beat Saga, or Saga just gonna dominate the whole year. I think that there's two that seems to be, there's two runs, one manga and one comic run that I'm gonna read through most of the year, and it looks like they will just dominate the whole year. But hey, hopefully, I would actually be glad to be wrong. It could either be good. It could be glad to be wrong because I'm expecting those to be so good that anything that breaks past them has to be amazing, and that would be awesome. And I do have some plans for that. I do have another comic that I'm gonna read as soon as I can believe it could rival Saga, because it's not as high as Saga on my list. But it's in my top 5 of comics of all time, and I'm gonna continue that this year, and it's gonna be interesting to see. But yeah, that's now we finished that part, yeah? A lot of talking, right? But that's the fun part. Now we've had our little chips, we've had our little, snacks beforehand. Now let's get to some serious business. Now let's get to the vegetables. My non-fiction reads for March 2026. The first one was, I was not halfway through it. I was well through it, and then I just finished at the end of the rest of the month. An African History of Africa by Zainab Badawi. I'm pretty sure about the surname. The name I'm not sure. You see, there's Zainab. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Yeah. So this book takes a broad spectrum of African history, and it goes back. It goes far enough back to start with the hominids and stuff like that. And I think maybe a little bit about dinosaurs. It really starts with the hominids, and then how it spread, and then it starts with the civilizations. So even what's great about this is a lot of African history that you read will focus on the periods of colonization, right? Most of this book predates that, but it does still focus on that as well later in the book, but most of it predates that and tells it from the African perspective. So a lot of it is told from the European perspective, most of the most popular works. But more of these are starting to come out, like The writing in this is really great. It's very easy to digest, to go through. So you can read like a bunch of pages and really fast, really easily, and you take it in. You just take it in. Although you're getting a lot of information quickly because it's telling of every place in Africa as much as it can. So and it has to do it quickly and as fast. So it's not that big a book, right? It's a decent sized book. It's like 400 and something pages because it is supposed to. This is an introduction book. This is what it is, and as that it works perfectly. Like I'll say this, right. So also when they got to South Africa, I was like, oh, you're leaving so much out. You just put in a sentence what should be what you can go for books and books about it. Could make a whole series of 10 books just about the thing you just put in one sentence. Like, oh, so that because I know more about it, this is like, oh yeah, you're leaving so much out. But then that made me excited because in the other parts, like I was reading, I realized, oh, because she has to force everything in here, she has to leave so much out. This is kind of introduction to get you curious, and then I can go and delve into those stuff, like the Kushites. I really want to go read more about the Kushite Empire and stuff, and get into it. Because now I realize how much in the other stories has to be left out if she had to leave that much out about the South African story. And that's got me really, really excited to get. And it was in that way it was really fun. It's always books like this can often get boring when they go too wide. They try and tell too much. It's just like facts, 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 and you can't get too much into stories. She does a really good job of really getting into like giving a feel of the people of time, their ideas and stuff, and what was happening, and then going through like this. And so she has to nitpick to just give it focus, and instead of making an encyclopedia. And it does a really good job. And then all these little hints about, oh, this, and what I loved about this so much is, and I think that was the goal of this book, is to get you something to be fascinated about and then go look into it more. The Kushites, ancient Egypt Empire. There was Aksum. Aksum I really want to go check out. Great Zimbabwe, I want to learn more about that. I don't know much about that as well. There's other ones now I'm starting to forget the names. There's a story about like a certain slaver also that I thought, okay, that I read, like he wrote like a 70-page biography about himself. I thought, that's going to be interesting. It's fascinating, interesting, and yeah, it gives life, and it's so much information that I know nothing about. And now I could go into it deeper because now I'm reading the second part. I know how much he had to live out just to make this thing still like a normal book. And now I'm really excited. That just made me more excited. Can't wait to get into more stuff. I would recommend, if you want to get into African history and start learning about this, I think this is the perfect start. And then you can kind of, oh, that thing she was talking about is interesting. I want to learn more about that. And this is a really great introduction. I had a really great time with that. So after that, this was a reread. The non-fiction I picked up after. I'm lying when I say it's a reread, but it kind of is a reread. Let me just show you. It's Commando. Commando, a Boer journal of the Anglo-Boer War by Deneys Reitz. So it's Deneys Reitz's journal and kind of like about what he wrote it right after the war, everything he experienced. Now, Deneys Reitz, what makes it interesting? Okay, well, let me say why this is technically a reread, and I technically haven't read it before, like read it, but I've listened. First, I got curious about it because there was a podcast on the Anglo-Boer War that took a lot from this one and followed. So it took a lot of this. Then I listened to the audiobook of this book as well. So it kind of felt like I already went through the story twice. But I was going to, if you've seen my books I'm definitely going to read this year, and especially on non-fiction, is the follow-up of Deneys Reitz's from Commando. That's in Tracking On, that tells about stuff that happened to him after and deals with a lot with World War I and the events there, because he also went, and he was like everywhere. He was in South Africa during World War I, he was in East Africa during World War I, and he ended up in Europe in World War I on the Western Front. So I really want to read that, but I thought I was going to read this first just to get like a refresher on where we were at Deneys Reitz. To my surprise, I thought I must have forgotten something. I barely forgot anything. I remembered most of this book because the audiobook, I think I listened to it 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago. and a series that was leading from this audiobook 3 years ago. So, and I thought maybe I'd forgotten a lot now, but I'm glad I still read it again. It's something about reading a book. Like it's still a different experience between listening to an audiobook and reading a book. I like audiobooks, but reading a book is for me a different experience. So I still enjoy it, but I realized, I didn't really have to read it again. I remembered everything. Denise Rates was 17 years old when the war broke out, and he went out. He started to fight in the war. I think that a real kid. And this is like, it's also interesting how his ideas of war are quickly shattered and changed. And then the horrible things you see, but also kind of just the spirit, the human spirit. Like he's going through he's seeing all this horrible stuff happening, and you can tell that at times, and he tells you it affects him deeply, or it's really, but he doesn't try and go into it too much. He also they never dally on anything necessarily over wrong, because he's just trying to, this is the things that happened to me and experienced. And it just reminds you how horrible war really is. And I mean, what's fascinating about it started, the Anglo-Boer War started as a conventional war and then became a guerrilla war as it went on later. And you see this experience now changes, and how the country is getting destroyed through this war, and what the next rate sees. And now, in the beginning, it's as horrible as in the beginning. It just keeps getting worse and worse because greater atrocities are happening and stuff like that. But at the still time, you get the sense that Denise is on an adventure, and he kind of still sees it as an adventure to some degree, although his illusions about it has been shattered, and he knows awful things. The amount of times he talks about this person that was a friend of him, and then he died, and he was soon to be dead, and then he tells you how he died. So it pulls at the string, but it's really great if you just want to see how a boy went through a war, and the amount of times he almost died. And it was like little small things that, like, Denise Rage is one of those strange people that he strangely gets unscathed through. He goes through the most deadliest things where everybody dies, but he's one of those oddities that strangely gets unscathed. Fascinating story. Not completely unscathed. I mean, he breaks a leg at one point. There's bullets graze his scalp at one point and stuff like that. Amazing. But then you realize how lucky they are compared to ours, and that all little small details. Because he fought both in the Free State, in Natal, in Transvaal, and in the Cape Colony. So you kind of see a whole journey through the whole of South Africa during this time, and how things are different in each of the places during the war, and what's going on and the sentiments of the people around. One of the best, like, in war journals, and it's all amazing. It was a 17-year-old boy, and the amount of 17-year-old boys in the fighting day, there were a lot of them that were considered, and I mean, that's still a thing of war, right? They still send kids, the 18, 20-year-olds today, has to go fight. And amazing. And like, it's not meant to be a depressing book, but it also doesn't shy away from the horrible things that happen. So it's actually kind of, the nature's spirit makes it feel uplifting, but it never shies away from the horrible things that happen. So I'm glad I reread it, even though I realized I didn't really have to. I remembered it pretty good. I like, I know exactly what's going to happen now. Oh, I know exactly what's going to happen now. Oh, almost every page. Well, then the vegetables have been completed. Are you still here? Are you still here? I hope you still. Or did you skip this part? Did you skip it, huh? Did you check on the time code? Say, oh, I don't want to eat my vegetables. I want to go past. Yeah, well, I can't stop you, right? I can't stop you. If that's what it is, that's what it is. That's what it is. I know you jumped over the non-fictions. You should be ashamed of yourself. You should be ashamed. I mean, I'm trying to tell you, I'm giving you information here. Two fascinating non-fiction books. Oh, and you're skipping it? No. But in any case, let's get to our entree. This is no more the stuff you guys came for, right? This is the kind of stuff you guys like. Fine. I will get to it. So let's my fiction, my mundane fiction. My mundane fiction reads for March 2026. I read two. It's actually interesting. I read 2 in everything this year. Except for the comics and manga, of course. This month, not this year. I read a little quicker than just do it. Hey, my first one was a romance book. My first like proper romance book. I mean, Prime Pages probably also, yeah. But let's say first proper modern romance book from TikTok darling, Ellie Hazelwood, Problematic Summer Romance. Look at that, shiny uitvind gets there. I honestly, the moment I saw this cover, I saw it on Goodreads and I was like, I like this like check question mark. Even like the island there and everything. This cover just worked for me. I'm like something, and I am lived differently. I always believe if somebody decided it was worth putting this much effort into the cover, then they must at least believe that the story is interesting. So there is a thing about, yeah, I definitely judge a book by its cover. I don't only judge them by the cover, but I definitely judge them by the cover. And more often than not, it seems to be right. Now, do you think I was right about this? Was this up my alley? Was romance up my alley? I had a really great time with this book. Oh, I like what's the Maya Kilgore and Connor Harkness, the Irish guy. Those are 2 main protagonists. So it's tell in first person, like I. So from Maya's perspective, from the FMC's perspective, and it's like problematic some romance. It's an age gap romance, I guess. That's it. Although the age gap's only 15 years, and she's like 23 or 24, I think. Yeah, she's 24, and he's 15 years older than that, whatever that is. 38. No, yeah, so she's 23 and he's 38. I didn't lie, that's what it says, yeah. I did read a book. I'm not just reading stuff. Ali Hazelwood, I really enjoyed the humor in here. The characters were great. I really enjoyed the humor in here. It's proper funny and proper, like, yeah, you could, I can believe these people exist. And that is how I would react. And they have been avoiding, Connor and Maya have been avoiding each other, and you learn why they've been avoiding each other. But now they have to be together in Italy for a week. Because Maya's brother, which is Connor's best friend, which that would be that's the more problematic. The age gap's less problematic. That's the real problematic part, is it's your brother's youngest sister. Yeah, or it's your brother's best friend, your older brother's best friend that you are eyeing. Let's say that. I genuinely, the humor, the funny incidents, how she structures this, I had such a great time. Even like, and you can tell Ali Hazelwood knows the place she's talking about. She used to live there in Italy. The description, everything, so fun. And really, you feel it. It's a lot of fun. All its side characters are fascinating, interesting. I even bought the prequel to this, Not in Love, I believe is its name, based on the people getting married in this, because the lady Rue was definitely my favorite side character. And the moment she started speaking, Ali described her like, I know who this is. I'm picturing this person. Great. I'm not gonna tell you, but it's a book too. It's like that's Rue. That's the voice, the looks, everything. That is Rue. I'm gonna. As for Connor Harkness, which is an Irish guy, I just pictured Ryan Kyle. Descriptions, and yeah, that sounds like Ryan Kyle. I'm gonna picture Ryan Kyle, and then I pictured Ryan Kyle's voice, and it just worked for me. And it's surprisingly funny. Ellie Hazelwood's humor is brilliant, and the open frankness of the main characters, great. Really enjoyed it. What do you want? It's also built from a first person perspective, which is not my favorite writing style, but it really does work. Yeah, in romance, maybe I can understand why you would do it in romance, because this really worked for me. Getting it from her side, getting it from his perspective, and I understand why you couldn't put it from the guy, because he would kind of spoil some of the stuff for you, because it's kind of a lot of it is what is actually going on in Connor's mind. That is the interesting thing. Now, I have one small gripe with this book, and it's a gripe I have. I was thinking maybe I should talk about it. Let me talk about it. I'm not turning red. Why are you turning red? You're the one turning red. There's something wrong with your screen. My face is not turning red right now, okay? And this is, I read like a romantasy last year as well, which I didn't like. I'm not going to, but I did really not like that book. But there's something that happens in this book and in that book as well that it's annoying me. And it has to do with a certain male appendage. And this is mine. And listen, I have no issue with a male appendage that is sizable. A sizable male appendage. I definitely don't want a small male appendage. We know, yes, like arms, legs, a small. You don't want a small male appendage. You would be, even I would be like, oh, wait, she's into a guy with a small male appendage. No, no, what? No, that's not right. No, I mean, it would have get me out of it. I also want to have a sizable male appendage. What grates me is, this is an Irish guy. This is a white Irish guy. And then you describe his male appendage in dimensions that will be, if the description is that you could not find such a sizable appendage on the whole of the internet. You can go and Google, so you want me to believe that this random white Irish guy has a more sizable appendage than if I went on the internet and typed in the British Broadcasting Commission and searched for the most sizable British Broadcasting Commission appendage. And then yeah. And I was like, because this is one part is like, and like she said, have you ever find, I don't know what to see if I get flagged for all this stuff. I don't know, does it ever fit? And then the corner is like, no, it's like it's heartbroken. It never really fits. It's never really fitted anywhere in. I've never been able to get my appendage into any cavern. If you get what I'm saying fully. Okay, my male appendage, my appendage is so large I can't get it into into any cavern ever fully, which is he's definitely lying to you. He's definitely lying to you, Maya. Because if he's telling the truth, then he should be arrested. Then he should definitely be arrested. Okay? That's what I'm saying. But then, by some miracle, Maya has the ability to, with her own cavern, because from the descriptions, then it has to be a cavern, take all of it. Well, so you have a cavern that large inside you, that is so gigantic and ridiculous that you can. What are you trying to tell me, Maya? What are you trying to tell me? That doesn't bode well. I thought ladies wanted their caverns for men to think of their caverns as not that excessive. And yet yours are so excessive, no other cavern in the world could have fitted this whole appendage. But your cavern can? Your cavern has this. Wait, what? No, you're making yourself look bad now, Maya. But then, how I justify this? Because I have if I take my own personal life into account here, I have noticed that women, and the census is from an I, so we are getting this from my perspective, I'm not saying all women. Of course, it's not all women. It's probably not even half women. But they are a group of women that seem to have this tendency to exaggerate the size of the guy they likes. Some of the appendages on the guy. It's always like to exaggerate the size of the appendage of a guy they like. And they will also exaggerate it in a different way when they don't like him anymore. And I'm like, that's not necessary, by the way. That is the most unnecessary thing ever. There's not a guy that doesn't know exactly the size of his appendix and where in the pecking order of the universe he stands. They are all very acutely aware of it. You don't have to lie about it. It's not necessary. I found this book adorable, wonderful, funny, with the smallest, and you could literally take 2 lines out of it, and I would say, yeah, then I would have no problem with the book as well. Actually, just and it's hard. It has just a nice, beautiful love story that I really enjoyed. Man, Problematic Sunrooms. I want to get into more Ellie Hazelwood. Like I said, I already bought the prequel to this, Not in Love, with that tells Rue and Maya's brother's story. And I'm really excited because Rue was like my favorite character in the whole book. So I want to have a whole book full from her perspective. Problematic Summer Romance, a lot of fun. I will definitely recommend it. Okay, then I picked up, this is technically a historical classic written in 1937. Turning Wheels by Stuart Clutter. Yo, guys, so I read my first Stuart Clutter book, was a collection of short stories, The Soldier Speeches, last year. It blew my mind, and I was wondering, okay, what to expect from this? What can I expect from this? This was Stuart Clutter's first book he ever published, his first novel, I will say, and it's published 1937, so it's a while back, right? Yeah. And okay, it deals with Turning Wheels. I really love this cover. I hope it's not. I'm trying not to have the shine show up too much there. I really love this cover. Even the lady holding the gun there, the guy at the back. It does give like, yeah. It deals with the Groot Trek. Okay, now Stuart Clutter was I ended up like going to buy more of his books, like because of the short speeches. I looked for more of his books. I couldn't find them anywhere except for secondhand. Seems like all of them are out of print, except for a very few select. And I decided, and I got, this was his first book, and I was like, okay, I mean, Soldier Speeches was later on, but it was short story collection, and he says, and he was like, no, but short stories are written to everybody, so you don't try and go too crazy with them. And I really loved that. I thought the writing was so good. So okay, no, if you want to go specific and see, and you're not afraid to just tell your story, let's see what you got. And I thought, okay, it's his first. It may be, and there's some rough edges, it might get, and maybe there is some rough edges, but oh no, there's not rough edges. But what it is rough. This book, it sucked me in, and I mean, it tells a story about people from my own country, and about a time period I want to know more about, and the people that are technically my ancestors, if you can think like. So of course I was going to find this fascinating. It's about the Groot Trek. The Great Trek is what I thought. It was so it deals with groups of white settlers moving out of the Cape Colony into the rest of South Africa, really, Southern Africa, to be truthful, looking for new places to stay to escape the British government. They didn't want to live under British rule, right? Now you can think, it's not like Southern Africa was empty. There were tribes, peoples living there, like empires. I mean, the Zulu Empire was still in Southern Africa at that time. So this tells the story of them going in, and like the experiences and the hardships and everything that happens, the conflicts they get with the locals. What I love about what Stuart Clutter does, and you can tell that he was, I think Stuart Clutter is in a unique place to tell these stories in a way that is not too close to it, but close enough to it to really get the detail in. He wasn't born in South Africa, but his father was a South African. And then after World War One, he was also another guy that fought in World War One. So I've got a lot of World War One veterans in here this month. He went to South Africa and he worked on a farm and farmed himself for 20 years before he became a writer. So he knew the people and the stuff and everything. And the way, I've never seen anybody get it so right. the way that those people were described and the things about them and the ideas and the stuff that he also gets the way they speak English and their little quirks and stuff like ach. Like South Africans still to this day we say ach a lot, ach. Even when it's like ach, you know, ach, you know this and the word cadence, and he gets that cadence perfect. But the characters in this is where it blows up. The characters and the events of this, the story it tells, it is sweeping, it is epic, but the characters pop off the screen. It's unbelievable and shocking and disturbing at times. Stuart Clutter does not hold back. This might be the darkest book I've ever read in many ways. And sometimes it's like simple things. It's just like illness and sickness and how that affected people going in. But then it's also the conflict between groups of people that don't like each other, coming into contact, that that have horrible views of the other people. He does not shy away from the racism of both the Afrikaners and anybody. It's like anybody. He doesn't shy away. He doesn't try and paint anybody in a beautiful color. He's like, but he also doesn't try to just make them villains. That's also not a thing. These are fully fledged characters that you will love them, you will appreciate them, you'll care for them, and then you will hate a lot of the ideas they have. And this is across the board, whether it's a black character, a white character, from whatever ethnicity leaves. And he also does a good job in the Bible thumping that, and then showing that not all of them was that, but a lot of them was like that. There are at least 2 characters in here that will be part of all time characters for me. Tant Anna de Jong, which is a very large, excessively large white lady that shouldn't be, that like they need help taking her off a carriage and stuff. But her mind, there's nothing wrong with her mind. And she's quick with it and stuff, and she will she will say a thing like she sees it. She doesn't have nonsense about it. And Tant Anna de Jong has no chill. That's what I'll say. Tant Anna de Jong has no chill. Now, if Tant Anna de Jong has no chill, she's this fascinating, intelligent character, like that keeps wrong-footing you. When you think this about her, she says you can't get a hold of her. Now, and if she's elusive, the other one, Runkels. Runkels is a native South African. Like it's never said what ethnicity he's from. He's black, but it's never said from what tribe or something. And Stuart Clutter keeps that stuff very vague for a reason. I think it's because there were so many different people. We're not going to try and chick. You kind of have to understand like that. Runkels is and first when you read him, and this is something he does with a lot of the characters, and from all of it, he kind of seems to be like a caricature of something, right? Runkels seems it, even Tant Anna de Jong seems it, like Hendrik van der Berg seems it, his son Herman seems it, Annie, is it Anneke? What is her name again? I think it's Anneke, but the female. But this is a great thing. It's like he shows the female perspective just as much as the male perspective in this. It's not like all of them, no matter, are complex, difficult characters, and that make with complex, questionable ideas that are very much of their times. But he never lets you be able to box a character in. They will always surprise you. They will always show you more depth than you thought there was. And Runkels especially does this great. And at the beginning, it feels like it's almost like, oh, this must be a product of his time. It's kind of like this racist caricature, not necessarily racist, but what's the word is like not depth, like two-dimensional caricature of playing into somebody's. What's the things that I want to give like an example, like stereotypes. That's the word I was looking for. It looks like it's a stereotype character, right? But this is done with all. So Runkels is not the only one. But this is gonna be this. This might be, because I was always like, maybe this. I mean, it was in the 1930s. The guy wrote it. It could easily be very like there could be questionable stuff like from that time. And Wrinkles really seems like that in the beginning, but a lot of the characters, even the African characters, you're stereotyping very much, but he never allows the character to stay there. And how Wrinkles is revealed slowly for you, all the things about him, and now like him, because he's kind of supposed to be like a Sangoma, a witch doctor. It's the South African witch doctor. It's a Sangoma, and he's but in the way Wrinkles is revealed and stuff, it is and you realize, oh no, he's by far he's outsmarting everybody on every level here. A fascinating character, way beyond anything you could believe. It's unbelievable. And then all the other characters in here, wonderful. And like how they beliefs, and they will be stationed. Hendrik van der Berg, he becomes like a prophet leader of this group of tracking boers, and it's fascinating to see how the man changes from the beginning to later on, and there's stuff that happens here that shocked me. That shocked me completely. Like, and I will also say that there's the most gruesomest death scene I've ever read was in this book. It was, and it's something that will probably never happen. It might happen to 2 or 3 people in human history, might have experienced something similar like this death, but it is possible to happen, and it has happened in Africa. It can happen to you if you're in the wrong situation, the wrong place, and it's grisly and horrific and brutal. And yet that is not the thing about that death scene that stays with you. What really stays with you is the character that dies in it, and the tragedy and heartbreak of this character's ultimate fate, and why this came about, and everything that happened there. And it really breaks you, and the effect it has on the characters around this character. Stuart is a master, and there's so many things happening at the same time. There's a lot of storylines that he but he pulls them all together at the end. This book reads for me way more like a grimdark. It feels like a grimdark fantasy, and there's fantastical elements. Wrinkles definitely plays into that. It's like you legitimately don't know at some points is this stuff magic, or is this just being manipulated in the perfect way. And Stuart Kluger is very vague. He doesn't want to give you the answer there, because and you can tell this is a guy that really lived in South Africa, and he really experienced the people, and really it took his time to get to know everybody and like get a sense of them. Whoever point of view you see it from, you're gonna see it from their perspective. Although it is third person point of view, you're still gonna be in their minds and their perspective and how they think about a thing. And then it changes. It's like, oh no, this is what you thought, and this is what this character thinks, but this is more accurate. And it keeps wrong footing you like that in this perfect, brilliant way. Now I have to and the events. And you can also tell when it comes to the battles and stuff, you can tell this is a guy that lived through battles and lived through World War I. The stuff is rough but fascinating. And the strategies, there's some brilliant strategy stuff happening in here that is stunning. It does remind me a bit of Malazan and Game of Thrones in how that plays out and stuff. But if I have to describe what a type of writer I think Stuart Kluger is, how it feels, I think, yes, you definitely feel a little bit of Erikson and a little bit of George R.R. Martin in this writing style, even though this predates it long ago, and I doubt if they knew it, Jim and Fred, so I don't say he influenced them, I don't. It's just people write style, right? But if I had to take another way to explain his writing style and how it felt to me, especially in the beginning, is if you took Louis L'Amour and you took Stephen King, and you mix those two together, and you put it, and they were writing stories about South Africa and the Groottrack and the age of pioneering, whatever you want to call it. I don't even know what's the problem. That is how it feels. Now, Turning Wheels, stunning, brilliant. I will say this, especially if you're South African, there's the word. We all know the word. There's a word in South Africa, a racist word. And it's constantly used. I mean, if it's probably over 100 times you'll read that book in here, if not more. And it's because, and you can tell it's very deliberately that he decided to use it, because he wants us, Stuart Little wants to remember, even if you like these people, you have to remember their point of view. You have to remember that they're racist. Now, I can see how that can become too rough for some people to read, like, yo, man, that I can't read that word that much. So that is, I will warn you, that word's going to be in here, and it's going to be in here a lot. Because Stuart Little doesn't want you to ever forget that these people are still very racist. They are still, and it's never a straightforward type of racism. It's not like I just hate white people hating black people, or black people hating one. No, it's never that simple. It is complex. It is like, and this is what he does. This is another thing he does. Every character's racism takes kind of a different form, and that's because racism never seems to take the same form with two people. It's always confusing, and that it represents these people so clearly and brilliantly, and even like, and they're religious, because they were always very, very religious people, a lot of them. But how that's also seen differently, and how people, and how they interpret happenings in different religious manners and events. The last thing I want to say one thing. This book was banned in South Africa when it came out in 1937. The reason given for this book being banned is there's a interracial relationship which was illegal in South Africa at that time. Or if it wasn't illegal yet, it was going to be illegal very soon, and it was very frowned upon. That was South Africa. I mean, this is separate. Segregation is in full-fledged at this point in South Africa, and we're very close to when the apartheid era starts. Right, the apartheid era starts like a little bit after World War II. This is right before World War II, so we're already going straight into that one. And this is also during the Herzog years. Herzog is in charge in South Africa. He was already one of the ones that were moving in that way. Right? So this is a type of book that will at times Stuart Little really didn't write this to make anybody happy. He was like, no, this is what I know, this is what I've experienced, this is what I'm going to tell, this is what I've realized about it. And he goes into real details, the struggles, like pests with the animals. It tells everything. It's such a sweeping, and it's not that big, it's like 378, but it's really a sweeping epic of this period in time in South Africa, and it's done brilliantly. It is mostly like 95% are told from the perspective of the white trackers, maybe even 97%. It's like, but I mean, he always gives you a little bit more fleshing out of the other characters than you would expect, and very interesting. Yeah, and it goes to places you wouldn't expect. I was shocked several times with the events that were taking place in this book. He really didn't shy away. He didn't shy away from it. Really, really fascinating, great. I had an amazing time with this. It blew my mind. And I will say this, I had bought 3 more books of Stuart Little after I read The Soldier's Preachers. This was one of them. I was halfway through that, and I went to look for more. And I also had to get them secondhand, except for one that I am still on its way, but I was able to order that still in print. And I bought 12 more. Well, actually, 13 more Stuart Little books. This is an all-time offer for me. I want to read everything he's ever written. I even got like the memoirs he wrote of himself, and like non-fiction stuff he wrote. He has become an all-time. He's for me a must-read. In the level like Stephen Erickson is a must-read, and how I would love to try and get to all of Stephen King's stuff. Stuart Little is up there. He's up there. I cannot. And to think, a year ago, I didn't even know this guy ever existed. That's blew my mind. Okay, now finally on to the dessert, the one we all enjoy the most, right? The one everybody's like, fantasy and sci-fi. Well, first one I started this one in February and finished it in March. It's Crown of Shadows by Stephanie Firth. Stephanie Firth is a South African writer. This is a debut novel that came out last year. So I read 2. So I'm supposed to read at least one fiction or fantasy or sci-fi book by a South African author per month. So I have at least 12, like just so that, because that's one of the things I want to bring in. But I ended up reading 2 since Standing Wheels. Stuart Little counts as that. And because I didn't actually have one. So this was supposed to be on my February one, but I couldn't finish in February because Ulysses. Yeah. So but I finished it in March then. This tells the story. It's kind of it tells the story of a princess becoming a queen and taking power, and the struggle for power, and the lengths you would go to secure your power and stuff, and your reign and stuff like that. That's the type of story it tells, and it really focuses on that. Her rise to power, her rise to become queen. It's actually very fast. It happens in the first 10 pages. The first 10 pages could have been a prequel book all on its own if the author wanted, but I really enjoyed that Stephanie decided, no. The story I want to tell happens after this. There's events that always seems to be the events of a first book. I'm going to just go through it quickly, and it hits. Those first 10 pages, beautiful. I will say after that, I want to say this. Stephanie Firth is definitely a good storyteller. You can tell that. She's got an eye for a good story and how to tell it and events. And it does try and capture that idea of like a Game of Thrones type of thing, where you like all the factions and stuff. And an interesting thing is she tries to write this like a fairy. It feels when the writing style feels like a fairy tale, but a very dark fairy tale, and trying to get like a modern spin, a more darker version of a fairy tale in the way it's written. It kind of feels like that, yeah. And I really thought that's a fascinating and interesting, and I really enjoyed it in the beginning, going like that. I really did enjoy it. I thought that this could be something really special. After the first 10 pages, it started. She's a great storyteller. She's got a great. But the writing, I will say this, and fair enough. This is meant for a young adult. It's a young adult book. It's a YA book. Okay, so accept that, and that might not be necessarily directly for me. I might not be the biggest fan of YA, so take that. Assume what I am. The writing does. There is for me personally. I'll say for me problems with the writing now. And some of this is like stuff that I feel. The one thing that I feel is a standard rule in writing that isn't. It is if don't overuse adverbs. It's not don't use them at all. Like Stephen King goes deep into it on writings, like why adverbs are terrible. That's the words at the end would be amusingly, graciously, gratingly, gorgeously. Those type of words. They have to be used sparse and specifically. And especially when you're like said softly or said loudly or said, because it kind of breaks the rhythm. And I feel I personally feel if you take out 80% of the adverbs in this book, the reading experience will be improved a lot. Because he said it didly. She said cautiously, softly, meekly. Well, it's constantly there's li, and it does break the rhythm to some degree, which is that is and I mean I'm not alone. Stephen King was and a lot of people online, and anyway it breaks. Adverbs should only be used when it's really really necessary. Otherwise, it breaks the flow of the sentence structure. It kind of breaks. It's like a bump in the road. Now, sometimes you want a bump in the road. A bump in the road can be used, but it also shows a lack of trust in your own character. I'm not. This is a general. I'm not talking about Stephanie. If you tell me how I should feel about how everybody's in, that it doesn't allow me to get the character's voice. Because at some point you have to allow me that I have the character's voice. I can interpret from the events that is happening how she is saying, or how he is saying it, how it is being interpreted. How it's like. You have to trust the reader to some extent, and telling them everything. That to some degree, the story has to be told in your own mind as well. I should be able to read the sentence and discern. Oh, she probably said this with some anger, or she shouted this maybe. And you can. She said this a bit louder, a bit softer, or this is how she felt when she was saying this because of the contents of the sentence. You shouldn't have to tell me every time how it is, and Stephanie Firth doesn't do that. But she does it a lot, and in my opinion, too much, and that kind of took away from my enjoyment of it. I'll also say a lot of parts, the dialogues. This is a YA. I'll remind you again, this is a YA. So, I mean, I think for a YA, it does what it has to. It feels, the dialogue feels generic. I don't know, you know, it's like, yeah, I've heard somebody say that in 20 books I've read before, or in movies I've seen. It feels some little bit generic. Now, having said that, the story in this is fascinating, and the characters, Melisandre is the queen, the main character, fascinating, and see what she would do, what she would go to, what she's trying to do, and the characters around her also really fascinating, interesting characters that I really did enjoy, and sometimes to learn about, and the conniving and what they're trying to do, and now this one has a plan here, and then every now and then I will read about like, whoa, that was crazy good. That was very interesting, and I like to see that. And some things go to somewhere and some things go nowhere, because this is people conniving with each other. Yeah, you had plans, but this one's plans trumped yours, so you ended up, all your plans went to nothing because you could. And I'd really enjoyed it. And it's a quick book, right? It's a 300-page book, and she packs a lot into that, which is also really impressive. I think I was not crazy about this book, I'll be honest. But I will say this. That first 10 pages is amazing. Then there's like, it starts, but then the end and the final confrontation, loved it again. Amazing. And I mean, even the character will stay with me. Melisandre will stay with me. But Felix will stay with me. And then there's even like small minor characters that you wouldn't even think it'd be necessary, but then they are so well written, they just pop off the screen. You really like it. And you feel the tragedy and the sadness of the events that are taking place. And like in somebody that will just end up doing anything for power. This is, I think I will definitely, when Stephanie Firth brings out the second book, I will likely say, I would like to see a journey how she's improved, because she's definitely a great storyteller. And the story, so if you can look past the things of too many adverbs and a bit sometimes generic, but I mean, remember, it's in a kind of a fairy tale style it's written. Think like in Snow White or something like that. But then, if think of trying to make Game of Thrones but writing it in a fairy tale style and making it shorter and trying to get into a fairy tale style. That's what I would kind of say, right? But it's not. It's a young adult book. It's not a preteen book. There's some stuff that's definitely young adult in there, content. So yeah, and this horrible stuff that happens. You're like, whoa, yeah. So I am Stephen Firth. She clearly has a talent for story, on telling story. I do think the writing is the thing, and if when she can get that to click, I think she's gonna be doing amazing things. And I'm definitely I hope to check out and see what Stephanie Phillips brings out in the future. So those kind of shadows. I would say I would not necessarily recommend it, but I don't regret reading it. There was a lot of things I liked about it. Yeah. Crown of Shadows. I mean, everything can't be for everybody. This is a me problem. This is not necessarily a book. From the adverb thing, I will stand by. I think that is a book problem. Right, that is a book problem. The other things I could have looked, but that I think is a general problem. But the other, besides that, it's probably not necessarily mostly aimed at me, since it's why. But I still think she did a really great job with what she did. Like, the characters are fascinating and interesting. And I mean, the end and the beginning really, especially. She builds it really up. And let me talk a little bit more. She does keep you. What's great? One thing that I feel is you're never 100% sure where the story is going until maybe late. I'll say it takes you to like 75-80%. Well, okay, I'm kind of getting lacking. It's a really it is a sweeping story as well in its way. Interesting, and I did enjoy it. And I did enjoy aspects of it, a lot of aspects of it, but the whole not perfectly, but yeah. So yeah, I am very interested to see what Stephanie Firth brings out next. And I think if the writing improves, because the storytelling is there, so if the writing gets to the storytelling, magic, then we'll have magic. But yeah, I mean, everything doesn't work for everybody. Okay, then my picked up of that was this is a sci-fi, but they're gonna say no, it's actually a lit RPG. Yeah, everybody's the booktube telling Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinneman. Yes, I finally read it. Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinneman. So these art covers are so nice. So this is also written in the first person point of view work. Like and that is not my favorite style of writing, right? I don't appreciate that a lot. Just like it's like, oh, it seems like the person's talking too much about themselves. But even with that, I love this. I really had a good time. It's good. Matt Dinneman makes it work. Just like I understand why it worked for Amazing. Matt Dinneman makes it work. It was really great characters, a crazy setup, and it's put you on this ride from the beginning, and it just keeps going. And it's a bad. Princess Donut is amazing. At times you feel you feel the pain, you feel the horror of the situation, but it's also kind of exciting and adventurous and really fun. It's some of the best laugh out loud moments I've ever had. And it's not like it's not a joke a second. It's not like Bam Man trying to make you laugh all the time. But when the humor comes and it hits brilliantly. The AI in this, I had like, whenever I read the AI's voice stuff, I had Tony Hinchcliffe's voice because he's a roast comic, right? I thought that would be perfect for the AI, and it does work. Just having a roast comics voice in here for the thing. Carl, yeah, I mean, Carl is a great protagonist to follow. He's kind of there to slot you in, but you still. How you realize about his stuff and stuff, even the stuff back. Princess Donut is a star. She's just a star. She was meant to be a star. She is the best. Princess Donut will, and even now there's like the goddamn donut. Yeah, okay, now fair enough. The way he builds it. First time I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I don't see it, but then it keeps getting funnier. Ah man, I'm so jealous of Carl and Donut. You know what? I wanted to measure when I should say, but listen. Okay, so everybody probably knows it. They're part of a game show, right? They're part of a game show after the whole world's been destroyed, where they're in a bunch of dungeons going down into the earth, trying to and they're creating up lit RPG, right? You're getting stuff. Everybody knows kind of what Dungeon Crawl is. And people are watching them, and then they can follow. They can have followers and and be favorites, and then I'm seeing their follower count and stuff in this book, and I'm being like, now I want bad things to happen. I'm jealous. I'm jealous of Colin Donut. I'm jealous of their popularity, and I'm getting angry because I'm jealous of them. That's great because I'm trying to be a content creator. I'm trying to. They didn't even try to be. They were forced into it, and look how popular they are. Is this what we have to do now? Do I have to go into a dungeon and try and survive crazy goblins and llamas spitting acid and crazy bosses and stuff? Whoa. Is that what I have to do now for you people to watch and enjoy? No, so I'm not maybe fully objective about this, because I'm definitely jealous of Carl and Donut and their viewership and their success. This is so much fun. This is really so much fun. Yeah, no, I just a lot of fun. But it has a heart. It has a heart at the center, and you can and it has something to say about this, definitely capitalism, consumerism, overall, and corporatism, bureaucracy, whatever you want to go. And the world is really nicely showed up. Yeah. And it does, what I love, what Matt Dinneman really does well, is he does give it this flavor of an RPG game. And I've only read like the first volume of Solo Living, which also did this. So I don't know how many RPG. I think this is something that has to probably happen to some degree, and let the RPG for it be good. Is like something random, but like if you play a video game, you might be just chilling, doing something in an open world game, and then something random that you didn't expect just suddenly and horrible and out of nowhere happens. That is part of this world, and the way he does that in the end, like you just say. I mean, everything's going along and fine. You kind of get used to it, and then you turn a corner and it's just chaos, and something crazy just comes out of nowhere. And that's amazing. And how what I love is every new part and new thing we learn is a bit different. You keep learning more. It never gets like it seems to be repetitive. Okay, now we're gonna fight this boss. Now we're gonna fight that boss. Now we're gonna fight this. But it's always a new wrinkle in it and a new dimension that makes it more and more interesting and more fascinating and just a little bit. And the side character beyond Carl and Donut. I mean, Mordecai is interesting. The hosts of the TV shows, of the game shows, TV shows. Well, TV shows. Yeah, TV shows. Fascinating, interesting, and this yeah. Definitely comment on culture. I mean, definitely also comment on what you call now modern like social media culture for sure. I'm definitely going to. I've already bought what's it? Carl's Doomsday Scenario. I can't wait to continue with this. It was a lot of fun. Matt Denneman, great sense of humor. And yeah, no, he makes this work. He makes something far-fetched and crazy, make grounded to a degree. No, he doesn't make it feel too insane, but still the insanity is there, and you just get caught up in these characters and what is going on with them. Really had a good time with it. No man, Dungeon Crawl Carl. It's popular and successful for a reason, and maybe the easiest, very easy. Anybody can get into it. Like yeah, I feel like yeah, that it's becoming a phenomenon, and it deserves to be a phenomenon for sure, for sure. Well, so now I have one thing left to do, right? I have to have a book. I have to put a book of the month, right? And I mean, there were some really good books here. I only had one book that was like okay, yeah, right. Of the 6 books I read, only one was like yeah, and 2 non-fictions were great. But I mean, in the fiction books there was the yeah. I would say like, and people might get angry at me for this, but I really enjoyed Problematic Summer Romance and Dungeon Crawl Call. They were kind of going, I was reading them simultaneously, and then I was like, okay, now I'm enjoying this one a bit more, now I'm enjoying this one a bit more. Both are very humorous and like saying stuff about the modern day and experiencing, and I really enjoyed both of them. But there was a standout. Ultimately there was an easy standout, and it was Stuart Clutter's Standing Wheels, an all-time read for me. I mean, I went and bought 12 more books by this author, and not like I had to go search for them in like a second-hand places that's second-hand to get that, and then hope the books when they show up was not in too bad a condition. All of them was down in reasonable condition, but some better, some worse, but they were not, and all will have all their pages and will be readable. So I mean, that's the level this guy blew my mind. He's become an all-time read for me. To think this is his first book, his first novel, and just like it's unflinching in what it goes and describes. It had to be this. It had to be this. It just and I mean, 10 pages in, I was blown away, and I just knew, oh wow, here is something special. And then he pulled it through till the very end. And it's also what I love about it is the great stories is the ones that it doesn't feel like you. Yes, it's awesome when the story is one neat story, but I really like it when it feels like historical events. You're experiencing events that are happening instead of just a story being told. It's events that are happening that you have to experience with these people, and you don't know where it's going and what's happening, and you're following all these storylines and how they come in and out of each other, and just surprises you, twists and turns that you never expected, but makes not necessarily never expect, but didn't expect, but makes perfect sense. Just showing off this world and the ugliness and the beauty and all of it is really a stunning piece of work, and I can't wait to read more of Stuart Clutter. Unbelievable. Yeah. That's it, right? That's it. Nothing more. That was a long one. I had a lot to say about these books this month, right? That's why I had a lot to say. You could tell I had a lot to say about the books. That was a great reading month, right? March ended up being a great reading month. Can April live up to it? Oh, I'm gonna have to watch my TBR, right? To see. Let's hope so. I don't know how many months can be like this. That was something. That was something special. Yeah, that's you can hear I'm tired, so I don't even. Should I rant at you now? Do you want to rant? Do you want to rant, or you just want me to leave? Want me to go? My coffee is done. My water is done. My voice is going. No, I don't know. I don't know. Should I rant? What do I have to rant about? I hope you're here. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you appreciate it. If you appreciate it, like, subscribe. Huh? Did you skip the non-fiction? Stop skipping the non-fiction. Eat your vegetables, please. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. We need to be better. We need to be better about this, right? Huh. But let's finish it up now. Well, that's done. I am the anonymous librarian. You can call me L, but yeah, if you don't call me at all, that's fine. You can write a comment. If you have a comment, keep it short and sweet. Keep it short and sweet. I want to read more books. I want to read your dissertation. I want a dissertation about, I don't know, it's the Stormlight Archive. I'm not interested in that, reading that. I will go read the Stormlight Archive. Don't give me a dissertation on it. And I will read it one day. So don't worry about that. It's not me knocking on anything. That's actually something I want to read. Yeah, so keep it short, keep it sweet. Yeah. I keep complaining about my accent, since that's the only thing that anybody wants to talk about in the comments, apparently. Whenever I get a comment, which is like never, it's about that accent. What is that accent? I recognize that accent. It's a wild accent. You're being mean. Nah, you're not being mean. I actually like it. I don't mind talking about my accent. I mean, yeah, it is wild. It's time to go. It's time to leave. I say goodbye. 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 Bye bye. Have a great April, guys.